The cameras showed you the deals, the drama, the chaos. But they didn't show you the cost. The lives quietly unraveling behind the counters of Detroit's most notorious pawn shop. Hardcore Pawn made stars out of ordinary people, but fame came with consequences nobody was ready for. Some cast members faced tragedy that stunned the city. Others made choices that destroyed everything they'd built. And a few simply disappeared, leaving questions that may never be answered. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the stories TruTV never aired, revealing the heartbreak, the betrayal, and the shocking realities that unfolded when the cameras stopped rolling. Are you ready to see the truth behind the counter? Because what you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew about Hardcore Pawn. Number 10. Carlos "Carl" Deals. In 2014, the reality TV world was rocked by the sudden death of Carlos Deals, better known to fans as Carl from Hardcore Pawn Chicago. At just 48 years old, Carlos seemed perfectly healthy. Just 48 hours before his body was discovered, he had worked a full Saturday shift at Royal Pawn Shop, joking with co-workers and assisting customers, showing none of the signs that anything was wrong. Then, on Monday morning, his family found him unresponsive at his Chicago home on East 100th Place. By 4:10 p.m., the Cook County Medical Examiner pronounced him dead, leaving a community and fan base in shock. The circumstances of his passing made the tragedy even harder to process. There were no visible signs of trauma, no struggle, no explanation for why a seemingly healthy man would suddenly pass away. For friends, family, and colleagues, the uncertainty transformed grief into something almost unbearable. How do you mourn someone when you don't even know why they're gone? Carlos's journey to Royal Pawn Shop had been unexpected. He started as a security guard at a nearby hotel, where his calm, dependable nature caught the attention of co-owner Randy Cohen. Offered a role at the shop, Carlos thrived, handling tense negotiations, difficult customers, and the daily chaos of a busy pawn environment. When Hardcore Pawn Chicago began filming, his authenticity naturally resonated with viewers. Unlike the drama-hungry personalities around him, Carlos represented steadiness, professionalism, and integrity, a human anchor in a world built on conflict. His death left a void that was impossible to fill. Colleagues struggled to keep the shop running, fans felt the absence, and speculation about the cause lingered unanswered. Carlos Deals' story is a sobering reminder that behind every reality TV persona is a real person with a real life, and sometimes the reality off-screen is far darker than anything viewers ever see. Number 9. Brian "Robo" Jackson. When Hardcore Pawn first hit the screen, Robo, the towering head of security at American Jewelry and Loan, immediately grabbed viewers' attention. Intense, imposing, and seemingly unshakable, he was exactly the enforcer a chaotic Detroit pawn shop needed. Just standing near the counter, arms crossed, eyes scanning the room, Robo commanded respect. Customers thought twice before acting out. On camera, he delivered what producers wanted. Order amid chaos, the muscle behind the Gold family's strict rules. One of Robo's most memorable moments came in Season 1. A furious customer, convinced he'd been shortchanged on a pawned TV, began shouting and making threats. When verbal warnings failed, he tried to climb over the counter. That's when Robo stepped in, firm, decisive, and unflinching, grabbing the man, spinning him around, and escorting him out. Fans praised him as the bouncer of Detroit, a figure whose intimidation and presence kept the store safe. It seemed Robo had found his perfect role, but behind that tough exterior lurked volatility that would derail his career. Early in Season 1, Robo allegedly bit a fellow employee, not during a customer confrontation, but in an unprovoked incident. The bite was serious, a blatant violation of workplace conduct that created immediate liability for the Gold family and the production team. Even in a shop where arguments and threats were routine, some lines could never be crossed. Management suspended him while debating a path forward, trying anger management and even giving him brief returns to the show. But by the end of Season 1, Robo's appearances dwindled, and by Season 2, he was gone entirely, replaced by security staff who could provide presence without the risk. Robo's departure is a stark reminder that reality TV and real-world business can collide. Producers may chase personalities that drive ratings, but safety and reliability always come first. For Robo, it was a harsh public lesson. His tenure ended not with fame, but with a bite that destroyed his career before it even began. Number 8. Christina. In the world of hardcore Pawn, not every cast member thrived on drama. Some simply showed up, did their jobs, and kept the shop running smoothly. Christina was exactly that person. As a window clerk at American Jewelry and Loan, she handled the essential behind-the-scenes work, processing paperwork, managing customer intake, and documenting transactions. She was the calm, professional presence that balanced the chaos of the Gold family and the more volatile personalities on the floor. For regular viewers, Christina represented reliability, the quiet backbone of a shop built on confrontation and spectacle. But in Season 8, everything changed. Security footage captured a routine transaction, and what it revealed stunned everyone. Christina was caught pocketing money that should have gone into the register. This wasn't a mistake or an oversight. It was deliberate, calculated, and undeniable. The surveillance footage left no room for doubt. The trusted employee that viewers had come to respect had crossed a line, transforming, overnight, from dependable staff member to criminal suspect. Management acted immediately. Les Gold, who built American Jewelry and Loan on trust and accountability, knew theft was unforgivable. Confronted with the evidence, Christina had no defense. Within hours, police were called, and viewers witnessed one of the most dramatic employee exits in the show's history. Handcuffed, humiliated, and escorted from the store on camera. What made the incident so shocking wasn't just the theft, it was who committed it. Christina had always seemed quiet, competent, and trustworthy. Her actions shattered the perception that years of reliability guaranteed honesty. For the audience, it was a sobering lesson. Appearances can be deceiving, and trust, once broken, may never be repaired. Number 7. Seth Gold. In late 2021, hardcore Pawn fans were rocked by a shocking social media rumor. Seth Gold, the heir to the Pawn empire and one of the show's most recognizable faces, had supposedly died in a car accident near Detroit. Within hours, posts, shares, and messages of condolence flooded the internet. Fans mourned someone they had watched for 9 seasons, sharing favorite moments and expressing disbelief. But there was a major problem. It was completely false. Seth, then 40, was alive, running American Jewelry and Loan, and continuing the family business his father Les had built decades earlier. Seth's connection to the pawn world runs deep. Growing up in the shop, he learned every aspect of the business, from customer negotiations to inventory management. After graduating from the University of Michigan, he stayed in the family business, earning a gemstone grading certification from the Gemological Institute of America, making him an expert in one of the shop's most critical areas, jewelry appraisal. On hardcore Pawn, Seth often served as the calm, analytical counterbalance to his father's fiery temperament and sister Ashley's confrontational style. Behind the scenes, He modernized operations, implemented professional marketing strategies, and earned recognition as Pawnbroker of the Year. After the show ended in 2015, Seth didn't fade away. He launched Fast Pawn, a digital platform for loan management, became active in community programs for young entrepreneurs, and co-hosted the Gold Tone podcast with his father, sharing insights on the pawn industry and family business. The 2021 hoax revealed just how much Seth remained in the public eye. Despite the stress of false reports, he handled the situation with calm professionalism, setting the record straight and continuing his work. Today, Seth Gold remains a driving force at American Jewelry and Loan, proving that even viral rumors can't derail a legacy built on expertise, resilience, and a lifetime in the pawn business. Number 6. Ashley Broad. Ashley Broad, the only daughter of Les and Lily Gold, was one of the most polarizing figures on hardcore pawn. Born in 1978 in Michigan, Ashley grew up inside American Jewelry and Loan, learning the pawn business from the ground up. Those early years shaped her into a strong, no-nonsense woman, ready to handle the tough Detroit market, where customers pushed boundaries and assertiveness wasn't optional. By the time the show premiered in 2010, Ashley was prepared to step into a spotlight that would magnify both her strengths and her flaws. On camera, Ashley was fiery, bold, and unafraid of conflict. She routinely clashed with customers, employees, and even her brother Seth, creating one of the show's central storylines: sibling rivalry. Some fans admired her confidence and determination, seeing a powerful woman thriving in a male-dominated industry. Others criticized her for fueling drama that sometimes overshadowed the business itself. By 2014, the toll of constant confrontation and public scrutiny became clear. Arguments between Ashley and Seth occasionally spilled beyond staged drama, creating real tension for the family and staff. Her appearances gradually decreased until she quietly stepped away from the show. In interviews, Ashley explained that family, personal well-being, and health were her priorities. The relentless on-camera pressure and exhausting pawn shop routine had become unsustainable. After leaving, Ashley redirected her energy into independent projects. She launched an online jewelry business, started a podcast, and made selective media appearances focused on her own brand. She chose autonomy over fame, prioritizing personal fulfillment over television exposure. Ashley Broad's exit marked a turning point in hardcore pawn. Her departure left a void in the show's dynamic energy, proving that life in the public eye comes with real costs. Whether seen as a strategic move, a personal necessity, or both, her story highlights the challenges of family business, personal growth, and the courage it takes to walk away when the spotlight becomes too heavy. Number 5. Karen Mitchell. For fans of hardcore pawn, the spotlight always shined on the Gold family, but behind the chaos and drama of American Jewelry and Loan, the shop relied on a team of dedicated employees who kept the business running day after day. One of the most steady and reliable faces in that operational backbone was Karen Mitchell. Working quietly behind the counter at the flagship Detroit location, Karen handled jewelry transactions, guided customers through complicated deals, and maintained a level of professionalism that kept the shop functioning smoothly, even when tempers flared around her. Unlike some of the more dramatic cast members, Karen never sought the camera. She wasn't delivering explosive arguments, engaging in family rivalries, or creating moments designed for ratings. She was the quiet professional who made the business work. Customers trusted her, co-workers respected her, and for viewers, she was a calm, reassuring presence in the middle of a show dominated by conflict. But after season 6, which aired in 2014, Karen simply disappeared. No announcement, no farewell. One episode she was there, the next she was gone. Fans noticed her absence immediately. Questions began to swirl. Had she quit? Was she fired? Was there some behind-the-scenes scandal that the cameras didn't capture? Social media lit up with speculation. Theories ranging from voluntary resignation to health issues, even unsubstantiated rumors about personal troubles. The truth, as best as it can be pieced together from reliable sources, is far less sensational but no less compelling. Karen chose to step away from the show voluntarily. After years of working behind the scenes, she decided to focus on her own path, away from the constant scrutiny of cameras and the demands of reality television. There's no record of scandal, no public health crisis, no legal entanglements. Just a professional stepping back from a world that wasn't the right fit for her future. Karen's departure highlights a side of hardcore pawn that often goes unnoticed. For every explosive confrontation and headline-making feud, there were employees like her keeping the shop running, managing real customers, and handling real money. They weren't background extras, they were essential, and their absence was felt not just on screen, but in the shop's day-to-day operations. Her quiet exit stands in stark contrast to the fiery departures and dramatic scandals the show became known for. Yet in its own way, the mystery of Karen Mitchell's departure is just as fascinating. A reminder that behind every reality series are real people making real choices, and that sometimes the stories left untold are the ones that matter most. Number 4. Rich Pyle. From the very first season of Hardcore Pawn in 2010, Rich Pyle wasn't just another employee, he became an instant fan favorite. As American Jewelry and Loans floor manager, Rich navigated Detroit's busiest pawn shop with humor, competence, and authenticity, standing out amid the Gold family's constant chaos. While Les and Ashley clashed, and Seth struggled with impossible customers, Rich stayed calm, offering practical solutions and quietly diffusing tension. His long hair, easygoing charm, and quick wit made him relatable, a bridge between the explosive family drama and the daily grind of the shop. Rich's appeal went beyond skills. It was his authenticity. He wasn't a Gold, he wasn't wealthy, and he wasn't seeking fame. He was a working-class man doing a tough job well, earning respect through fairness, consistency, and genuine care. He handled volatile situations without aggression, mentored new employees with patience, and maintained humor in one of retail's most stressful environments. Viewers felt they knew him, celebrated his contributions, and trusted him as the stabilizing force behind the counter. Then came season 6, one of the show's most shocking moments. Rich was fired on camera after a heated dispute with Les over management and employee treatment. The argument escalated, and rather than handling it privately, Les terminated Rich immediately, with cameras capturing every humiliating second. Fans were stunned. Online forums erupted, calling the firing a betrayal and highlighting how reality TV often sacrifices real people for drama. After leaving, Rich explored local Detroit projects, a short-lived music venture, and connected with fans online. Yet the fleeting nature of reality TV fame was clear. Even a beloved figure can fade quickly once off-screen. Rich Pyle's departure left a void. He had humanized the chaos, providing calm, professionalism, and heart in a show built on drama. Years later, fans still debate his firing, remembering him as a quiet anchor who held Hardcore Pawn together when the cameras weren't enough to do it. Number 3. Lily Gold. For longtime Hardcore Pawn fans, the spotlight always fell on Les, Seth, and Ashley. the fiery personalities whose arguments and confrontations fueled the show's drama. But behind that public face was Lily Gold, Les's wife and the quiet matriarch of the family, whose influence on American jewelry and loan was immense, even if rarely seen on camera. Married to Les since 1975, Lily had been there from the very beginning, helping transform a small Detroit pawn shop into the landmark it became. She managed countless behind-the-scenes operations, from administrative work to key customer interactions, ensuring the business ran smoothly long before the cameras arrived. Staff often described Lily as the calm center amid the storm of family conflict. While Les's temper flared and Seth and Ashley's sibling rivalry created constant tension, Lily remained grounded, mediating disputes and offering quiet guidance that prevented the business from unraveling. She never sought the spotlight, but her presence stabilized both the family and the shop, reminding everyone what truly mattered, keeping the business running and the family intact. As the show gained national attention, Lily's appearances began to dwindle. By around 2013, fans noticed her presence growing rare, sparking speculation. Was it health concerns, the stress of public family drama, or simply a preference for privacy? Regardless, her absence was felt. Lily had always represented wisdom, stability, and a grounding influence, and without her, conflicts sometimes appeared harsher, more unbalanced. Even off-camera, her role was essential. She maintained trust with staff and customers, kept operations running smoothly, and ensured the shop remained more than just a pawn business. It was a family operation built on real relationships. When Hardcore Pawn ended in 2015, Lily's quiet influence remained one of the show's most understated legacies. She reminds us that sometimes the most essential figures aren't the loudest. They're the ones keeping chaos at bay behind the scenes. Number 2. Carl Bell. Carl Bell was a familiar face on Hardcore Pawn Chicago, known for his steady presence at Royal Pawn Shop. On camera, he appeared competent, professional, and reliable, a stabilizing force in the chaos of a busy pawn shop. Fans admired his calm demeanor, his confidence with customers, and his ability to keep operations running smoothly while drama unfolded around him. Carl wasn't chasing the spotlight or creating conflicts for ratings. He simply did his job and seemed to do it well. But behind that dependable exterior, Carl was hiding a secret that would ultimately destroy his career and reputation. Carl developed a gambling addiction that escalated from casual bets to an all-consuming problem. As financial pressures mounted, he saw only one way to feed his habit: the very inventory he managed at Royal Pawn Shop. With daily access to high-value items like Rolex watches, fine jewelry, electronics, and collectibles, the temptation to steal became dangerously easy. At first, missing merchandise might have looked like simple accounting errors, but over time, a clear pattern emerged. Management launched an investigation and uncovered a shocking truth. Carl had been systematically stealing merchandise and repawning it to fund his gambling. The total value of stolen items exceeded $40,000, representing a profound betrayal of trust, not just for the shop owners, but for viewers who had believed in his reliability. In 2014, Carl and fellow employee Jeremy Jackson were arrested and charged with felony theft under Illinois law. His on-screen professionalism was overshadowed by criminal behavior, leaving fans stunned and questioning whether his on-camera persona had ever been genuine. Carl disappeared from public view after his arrest. His exit wasn't voluntary, it was permanent, leaving him with a criminal record, a ruined reputation, and no future in the pawn or entertainment world. Carl Bell's story is a sobering reminder. Addiction doesn't just destroy lives, It can betray trust, harm others, and leave consequences that ripple far beyond the individual. Number 1. Jeremy Jackson. Jeremy Jackson was a familiar, low-key presence on Hardcore Pawn Chicago, working at Royal Pawn Shop and handling daily operations without seeking the spotlight. Unlike some cast members, he wasn't confrontational or dramatic, and viewers barely noticed him except as a steady background figure keeping the shop running. He seemed reliable, professional, and unremarkable, the type of employee any business would value. But behind that calm, dependable exterior, Jeremy was part of a criminal scheme that would shatter his career and reputation. In 2014, Jeremy was arrested alongside fellow employee Carl Bell after investigators uncovered a sophisticated theft operation inside Royal Pawn Shop. The two had allegedly been pawning stolen merchandise back into the business, converting high-value items like luxury watches and fine jewelry into cash to support Carl's gambling addiction. The theft was systematic, not opportunistic, involving dozens of items worth more than $40,000. Legal filings described the operation as coordinated and deliberate, making it a serious Class II felony under Illinois law, carrying potential prison time and permanent consequences for anyone involved. For Royal Pawn Shop's owners, the discovery was devastating. It's one thing to have a single dishonest employee, but to find multiple staff members colluding to systematically steal shook the very foundation of trust in the business. Questions immediately arose. How long had this been happening? Could other employees also be compromised? The betrayal went beyond financial loss. It threatened the credibility of the shop and the reality show built around it. The scandal shocked fans of Hardcore Pawn Chicago. Jeremy had appeared professional, quiet, and unassuming on camera. Someone viewers believed was trustworthy. The revelation that he had allegedly participated in ongoing theft completely upended that perception. If a reliable, low-profile employee could orchestrate such a scheme, the boundary between reality TV and real life suddenly felt far blurrier. Fans were left questioning what they'd actually witnessed on screen and how much of the show's portrayal could be trusted. After his arrest, Jeremy vanished from public view. Unlike other cast members who left voluntarily, his exit was permanent, defined entirely by legal consequences. He didn't return to television or the pawn industry, leaving his brief public presence overshadowed by crime. The Jeremy Jackson and Carl Bell case remains one of the most serious controversies in the Hardcore Pawn franchise. It revealed the vulnerabilities behind reality TV's polished facade, showing that real-life stakes, betrayal, criminal activity, and broken trust can be far more dramatic than anything scripted for the cameras. For Royal Pawn Shop, the incident prompted tighter security and oversight, and for viewers, it remains a stark reminder that reality sometimes hits harder than any television storyline. And so the cameras are off, the episodes have ended, but the stories linger, unresolved, haunting, and far more complex than any montage or highlight reel could capture. Behind the laughs, the fights, and the drama of Hardcore Pawn, real lives were tested, choices were made, and consequences rippled long after the spotlight moved on. The question now isn't who left, who fell, or who stayed. It's what happens to the people we watch when the world isn't looking. And as reality television continues to chase ever bigger spectacles, how many more lives will be quietly rewritten behind the scenes? The story isn't over. It's just beginning to reveal the truths that the cameras could never show.